This woman represents the position of despairing quite well. She looks back on her life with a lot of regret, a lot of disappointment over how it went. She has a fairly pessimistic view of her own life. Erickson also identified two other positions that fall between integrated and despairing, but he considered these other two positions to be both partially integrated since they represent some of the qualities of an integrated person. The first one is non-exploratory, and those who are non-exploratory express a general contentment but exhibit an overall resistance to additional growth. So these individuals, they don't really engage in self-reflection about their life, their value, what their purpose is, but they do express an overall satisfaction with their lives. But there's a lack of introspection, and that comes from a place of really an intentional adherence to a comfort zone of thoughts and emotions and attitudes that are safe or comfortable, and they won't really step outside of that. They're not introspective. When asked, these people will answer with practical answers, not philosophical answers. But this group of individuals, they're open to new experiences. They're even mature. They have positive self-esteem, and but they are impatient with ambiguity. So the example and the quote that I have for this one is an 81-year-old woman who answers the question and says, "I'm satisfied. I've had a very good life. I had a very good married life. And the children, I can go to any child and stay as long as I please. And they always want me to stay. My oldest boy and his wife, they say, if you ever get into trouble, just come over, if you can't cope on your own. I have the confidence that there's not one of them that would reject me or leave me in the lurch anywhere." Now, a lot of the people don't have that, and I feel sorry for them if they don't have that. And I think it is a pity if they don't have that love that is required in a family. You sometimes you can't be too easily hurt. You have to take it with a grain of salt, and especially if you can make a joke out of it. It's better for yourself and for them. So this woman is a great example because she exhibits a contentment with her life, but that contentment is defined in terms of family and relationships. She doesn't look at what her life has meant, but she focuses on positive things that are happening with her family, and that's kind of where she's at. And the other position that Erickson found was pseudo-integrated, and those who are pseudo-integrated, they've constructed a satisfactory perception of their own life by refusing to accept those aspects of their life that were anything less than positive. So those disappointments, any angry, that hurt, all of that stuff they've just rejected. So they offer this really cohesive life account, but they're not really willing to explore any potential problems in that life account. A good indication of a person having reached the pseudo-integration is them claiming one thing and yet exhibiting something contradictory. So these people are low in maturity, they have low self-esteem, and their ability to perform moral reasoning is very limited. So here's an example of an 82-year-old woman who answers the questions, and she says, "You learn not to write letters on impulse. I've done more harm with that than you would believe, to individuals expressing what I felt, not understanding that they would read differently from what I meant them to. Disastrous results. It took far too long to learn not to do this. You do so much harm, you don't realize it, and then whoop, it's done, and you don't pick it up again. I hope I've managed to pull some chestnuts out of the fire lately." This woman claimed to have a lifelong commitment to Christian values, and yet her actions of anger and bitterness and intolerance really contradict those claims, which Christian values, such as being forgiving, being kind, humility. She appears immature for her age and emotionally unstable. The good news is that Erickson found that most adults do positively resolve this stage, and they reach a sense of their own integrity. And as I mentioned before, even if they don't, when you're working with them, the longer they live, the more of a chance that they have to reach this sense of integrity.